We're going to do something completely different here. So far we've had to either input text into arrays or we've had to use some kind of randomizer. But wouldn't it be nice to take all the information on the internet? So we've got all these CSV files, so basically kind of Excel files, um, with data, or you've got names on something. Wouldn't it be nice if we could take all that information and just input it right into our program? And you can. And it's an API, and we're going to use what's the fetch API. It's a little bit confusing because we haven't used functions the way we're about to use them. You could write it differently, but I feel like it gets even more confusing then. So the very first thing I'm going to do is make a new file, and I'm going to call this sample, and then this is different .txt. So just a text file. And I'm going to just type in some random things. I don't know, desk, school, I don't know, pencil. These are all things like I'm seeing these things. Pens. We could go on forever. Okay. So there's 4 things. And what I want to do is I want to import this all into my program. So I'm going to go to my script and I'm going to make an empty array. So I'm going to just call it my array and just completely blank. And here's where the magic happens. We're going to do fetch. So our fetch command, we're getting that fetch API. And then I need to write in here, I want to fetch the sample text. So sample.txt. Now, this doesn't happen instantly. So only after it's actually went and got the text do we want something to happen. So I only want something to happen after it does it, or once it's done this, then I want it to do something. So it does this, then. Well, then what do I want to happen? I'm going to put some spaces here to make this a little more clear, hopefully. We're getting some raw data in here. So I'm going to call it raw data. Not raw date. Raw data. And I want to take that data that I get out of here. So that's sitting in this variable now. Okay, our parameter. And I'm going to feed it into a function. Now, this is an arrow function. So this makes an arrow. And I can do things with this data over here. So if I could do like a push or something like that, any of our methods we've used. But I'm going to do raw data dot text, meaning, so it's going to go and find this file. It's going to look at the data in the file, and it's going to turn it to text so that we can read it. So at this point now, it's data. We have completed that part of the then, but we're still not done because it's still not in an array yet. So we're going to go then. So at this point, we have some text, we have some data. Now I want to change that data. So I'm going to again give some spaces. I'm going to change that data, and I'm going to use another arrow function because I want to do something with it. And I'm going to create an array, use a function here that I've built outside of it. I want it to run the create array function. Now I haven't built that yet, but I want to take whatever data this thing has given me and put it in there. Again, I know that's a lot. We'll go over it after we make sure everything works. So my function that I'm calling here, I have create array. Now again, it's taking the data. And what do I want to do with that data? I am going to put it into an array. So let array equals. So I'm taking this data. So all the way from back here, this is still data. So the first thing we did is we found it. Then we turned it into text that the computer can read. Then we passed it into this function. So now, right now, it's still sitting as data that we can read. It's just not really stored anywhere. So I want to store it in my array. So I'm going to do a dot split. I am going to, split is going to turn each piece of data into little pieces. It's going to split up into pieces. I can decide what those pieces are built on. I'm going to do it based on a space, and that's why I specifically put a space here every time. So I go back to the script, Okay, so now it's split into an array. But I want this array, I want to put this into my array because that's my global variable that I made. So my array equals the array. Now this might not be the most efficient way. Maybe for efficiency, let's actually put it straight into it. So my array, right away, let's push it into there. And then I want to just console log that. So let's see if that runs and works. So you can see everything's in that array now. Desk, school, pencil, pens. Again, first thing it does, it finds it. Then it takes that data and it turns it to text. That's what .text does. Then it takes that data that is now text and it feeds it into our array. Now I like putting this last one as an array. I could put this stuff, these two things in here as well, but we're more used to seeing it this way, and you can see I have multiple things going on, so then maybe the arrow function is not as useful for us, or not as clear for us what is happening. Now the nice thing is, or neat thing is, if I get rid of all of these spaces, because I said I was splitting it based on spaces, you can see it's actually just going to make it into one. It's only one array right now. Now I could split it other ways as well. So let's see what happens if I just get rid of the space completely. Oh, now it's split up into every single letter. So every single letter is its own thing now. So now I could actually see, I could find whatever I want in there now into individual elements. When I have it as space, I can go and find individual words. The other way I can find individual letters and change them.